Hey everybody, we're down in Guatemala today and we're on a development trip. So those who aren't familiar with our process, a development trip is what we do after we get an idea off the ground. We get a little startup cash that allows us to take time and take energy to focus on a story that we actually have been asked to tell or we want to tell. And part of that is doing a development trip. That's actually getting boots on the ground and being somewhere where we can actually see if the story that we're thinking about is actually good. A development trip is where we come in and we spend 7 days figuring out what's the story, is it going to work, how much it's going to cost, who are our characters, all the pieces that create what we call our project proposal. If you guys have followed any of our videos and stuff, you can see is we do the development a little differently. We don't just create a pitch deck, we create a project proposal, which is like a full page business plan on how to make them, what we're going to do, and to prove to the people paying for it that we're the ones to actually do it. Let me give you the backstory on this project. A friend of mine told me about this guy who invented a pediatric wheelchair that can grow with you over time, that doesn't take any welding to actually produce. So we were totally curious about it. We flew to Utah, met with the executive producer who pitched the idea. We told him our system of how we work through things from idea to development, then pre-production, production, post-production, then marketing, distribution, and impact. And I said, we're just up here. And I said, we like your idea, but to move it into development, it's going to take some cash. So we gave him a number that was under $25,000 and said, here's how much we need to develop your project. And what we're going to do with that money is we're going to build a project proposal. We're going to go on a scouting trip and we're going to write your script and distribution strategy, marketing strategy, impact strategy, and we're going to do that together. But the first step is that we need to go down to Guatemala and see where this story exists. What does it actually have the components of a great documentary that can create and generate impact. The other thing is we're shooting a trailer at the same time. Now, if there's anything I can say, this is actually so big, I can't even tell you. It's even a struggle for me after 25 years. On our development trip, we're shooting a trailer. We're not shooting the movie. And this is so hard for everybody on the crew, even myself, not just to jump into wanting to do interviews and shoot scenes. All we need is enough footage to cut a trailer to communicate to other people what we're doing down here and what the story's about. And it really helps to build our email list and to start introducing the project to people who might be interested in partnering with us. So on this trip, the first thing is we need to do is meet the cast and figure out what they're doing. You know, how are they living out their story? Are these people legit? Is there a way to tell the story in a way that's compelling, entertaining, educational, and inspiring, and then actually provide ways for the audience to get involved? Second, we're scouting locations. Third is we're looking at electrical plugs. Do they have electrical plugs in the wall that are American, or do we need converters, or all those different pieces? What we found is we brought a bunch of converters, realized that most of the places that we're staying all have same cords that we use, the same electrical plugs as the US. The next thing is we're looking at hotels. Do we have a driver? Is our driver a fixer and a driver? Can he help translate? You know, we found that on this trip, he's been great. He's been somebody that's really helped us pull the story together. So we're working on process on the business side, and the DP and I are looking at it from the creative side. And every night we're just taking that stuff and putting it together to figure out, can we do this film for the money that we think that we will be given? So while we're here, the first day we went in because this pediatric wheelchair they make for these kids, custom designed, tailored specifically for them. So a bunch of kids were coming to get placed in wheelchairs. Well, that was a great spot for us to be able to meet moms and meet kids. But then we started to realize that the real heroes in the story are these technicians. It's the folks that work at the factory that are actually building these wheelchairs. And they actually not only are just the heroes of it, but they have an understanding, they have an empathy, and they have a connection with the people who are receiving the wheelchairs because they're in one. All right, now the next day, we then go out to visit these kids in their homes. Now this is a little different and it's tricky, and I gotta be honest with you, it is so difficult for me because most of the time we have to bring a lot of people with us. And also, we don't have established relationships with these people, but we do need a few shots along the way. You're asking them for something but haven't necessarily earned the right. So we have to be really fast with relationship.
Yeah, at 5 years old, he was given this chair by a well-meaning person. You know, he didn't have access because it doesn't have a swing away or adjustable armrest. He didn't have access to be able to push it, so as he couldn't be independent. And the thing with these chairs is they have a purpose. They're basically a hospital chair for moving patients around. And what happens is a lot of people want to save money, and they'll get a bunch of these chairs and pass them out to people, assuming that they're going to have independence. And yeah, I guess their reasoning is it's better that they're up off the ground and out of the mud. But if you're going to give somebody a chair, give them a chair that fits them right, that they have access to the wheels, that the footrest, that the seat depth, that everything is appropriate, the right type of tires and casters, so that they have independence. But this chair, it has its purpose, but it's mainly just to move patients around a hospital.
Yeah.
So the first 20 wheelchairs that I gave away back in the 80s, it wasn't uncommon for the family, because they had to give you something, or they felt like they had to give you something. There was something to drink or something to eat, or they would send you home with a rooster.
I kind of lost it. I was a little bit frustrated because I couldn't, I can't control the situation like that. You just have a lot of excited people. You can't clear the scene. You have people in the shot. So it's very frustrating to the DP because he's leaning on me to control the set, but I can't do that when you walk in, there's a kid in a wheelchair and there's chickens running around. We strategized this morning, we had conversations, and we said, hey, let's thin this thing down. We're gonna need 3 to 5 people on the entire crew, and then that crew will then execute on being able to come in quiet, mobile, spend time with people, and have real, true conversations. Then we go back the next day, and now we're just spending time with the founders and staff, just seeing how their world works on a day-to-day basis when they're not full on grinding out, putting 25 kids in wheelchairs. It's a kind of a different day. It's kind of what they do on an everyday basis. Most people that are just there for a photo op, or they're just looking to capture something, that they'll stick around and they get bored and they leave. And what we started to see is that people started to see, like, they're not going anywhere. Like they've been here all day. They're sitting on the steps. They're talking to us. They're just kind of hanging out. And just we call it just trust is built with time. And when you just hang out for a day instead of just rushing in and rushing out, it can make a big difference in how people see that you care. Is I've got my DP, I've got photographers, we have sound gear, and not sitting down and doing a 2-hour interview, but just having somebody sit down and give me 15 minutes of just taglines that I can use, just quick little clips that can give us a sense of the story. We always say you have to sell the story before you can tell the story. And it's super hard because I want to tell the story. I'm here now, let's do it now. But the discipline in me is taught me that if you come in, shoot the trailer, go home, write the script, write the budget, get the right money, hire the right team, start your marketing, you can come back and you can do those things that you really hoped you can do. All right, I'm kind of all over the place, but I hope some of this is helpful. So what's next in this process is we're going to go home, we're going to take the footage, we're going to give that to a trailer editor. He's going to create a 90-second trailer, maybe 2 minutes, that tells the story of what this movie that we're hopefully going to call Untethered. And I'll take about 2 weeks and I'll script out the film, and I'll then take that and send it through a budget, and Kristen will budget out the movie, figure out how much this thing's going to cost, and then we'll put together distribution, impact strategy, distribution strategy, all those pieces, marketing strategy, and then we'll take that 27-page document, 23-page document, the trailer, the photography, present it to our EP, and if he greenlights the project, we'll be back down here in the next 6 months to actually shoot this movie. So, all right, hope this has been good. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.